This evening, we welcome Gillian Lewis, National President of BPW Australia. With your presentation, Gillian, Turning Passion into Action, you'll be talking about the opportunities that BPW gives us to contribute in our communities and beyond to make a difference for women in whatever way we can. This may be done by responding to inquiries, by actioning our resolutions into policy, and by joining with other like-minded groups to ensure that women's issues are really heard and actioned. This grows more important with these changing times. Gillian Lewis, you are a dynamic leader and a dedicated advocate for the empowerment and safety of women and girls at local, national, and international levels. As the National President of Business and Professional Women BPW Australia, you champion gender equality, social justice, anti-men's violence against women, and the promotion of women's rights across the globe. We are so excited to hear your insights. Gillian Lewis, the stage is yours as soon as I have shared your presentation. And as well, I would like to make you visible as the person. Let me see how we do this. Print spotlight for everyone. There we go. And now I will share the presentation that you sent me, and I hope everything works. There we go.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your invitation to speak to you today, where it must be about 7:18 for you on the 25th, whereas it's 8:18 for me on the 26th. So we're ahead of you in time. And I'm currently on a little sand island called Gillian off Lombok and Bali in Indonesia. No motorized transport here, so it's peace. It's a great honor and humbling for me to present this talk to you from BPW Australia, one of Canada's sister federations, and I bring warm regards and best wishes from our BPW Australian members. I believe that as members of BPW, we should each take the opportunity that BPW gives us to contribute to our communities and beyond, to make a difference for women in whatever way we can. I've noted from afar that Canada's activities and advocacies and find it both interesting, and I'm not sure whether it's encouraging or concerning that there are similarities of our advocacy campaigns. Slide 2, please. BPW sisters working together, using our collective strength, can achieve so much, and I'm reminded of a very powerful statement which resonates with me and makes me think of BPW and all our members, and of the way we work best, lifting each other up and advocating together for change. When individuals stay focused on collective outcomes, on elevating one another's performances, it creates psychological safety, enhances agility and flexibility, and minimizes status and power contests so that the energy can be channeled towards group goals. In this spirit, I'd like to share some of BPW Australia's key activities and advocacy focus efforts. Slide 3, please. BPW Australia has been actioning our national resolutions as policy statements to federal and state politicians, including women's housing stress and homelessness, access to women's healthcare in rural, regional and remote areas, particularly access to abortion, gendered impacts of tertiary study debts, and the weaponisation of child support payments, and access to quality national childcare and early learning system that is flexible, available, affordable and accessible. Childcare is a societal issue that benefits families balancing work and care, and is not simply a women's issue, but requires a mainstream focus by governments. We further shared our BPW election advocacy platform to appropriate federal politicians and candidates at our last election. We sought from each MP and candidate a commitment that they or their party, should they win government, will routinely consult with the women's sector and take account of differential impacts on women when researching and developing their policies that have population-wide ramifications, and deliver strategies and programs that are tailored to women's experiences and circumstances. We advocate for government, both national and state, to apply a gender lens to population-wide policies and programs, whilst recognising that issues such as childcare, domestic and family violence, and child support are considered with a gender focus. Wider issues such as housing stress, homelessness, and student debt that disproportionately impact women receive no gender analysis. We task our politicians to prioritise women and children's safety and security, advocating for a multi-focused, systemic approach that is appropriately funded and resourced and includes prevention and education strategies, as well as shelter and support for family and domestic violence victims, as well as evidence-based programs for perpetrators. Our members have also been campaigning and rallying locally against male violence against women and children. Slide 4, please. Some of our BPW election advocacy issues are being somewhat addressed now following the federal election, such as the weaponisation of child support payments and access to affordable and quality childcare. BPW Australia has particularly advocated for the federal government to reform our child support system to protect families and children from poverty and disadvantage, while prioritising their safety and security by placing the onus on the payer of child support to meet their obligations through our taxation system, rather than the recipient having to chase the payer who could be using it as another form of abuse. Some of our recent BPW Australia submissions, we responded to our Senate Standing Committee into menopause and perimenopause in March 24. We responded to the Australian Law Reform Commission's inquiry into justice responses to sexual violence, emphasising that BPW Australia also has a vision of a justice system that supports victim survivors, prioritises their well-being, and fosters a trauma-informed approach. That was in April 24. And my local club, BPW Adelaide, responded to our state's Royal Commission into Domestic, Family and Sexual Violence in September 24. Our resolutions are all very powerful, inclusive and necessary. And as I noted looking at your website, you too have similar ones. The women's issues are very comparable across our two nations. Slide 5, please. Over the last year or two, much has changed, not only within our respective countries, but also the broader global landscape for women. These shifts underscore the importance of international collaboration, advocacy, and continued vigilance in protecting and advancing women's rights. It was great to attend the BPW International Congress at St Kitts alongside our wonderful BPW Canada members, and also to support the BPW New Zealand Pay Discrimination Resolution. I am, and I'm sure many of you are, in agreement with the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, when at the 69th Commission on the Status of Women, he delivered a sobering message. Women's rights are under siege. The poison of the patriarchy is back, and it's back with a vengeance, slamming the brakes on action, tearing up progress, and mutating into new and dangerous forms. But there is an antidote, and that antidote is action. I see these words as a strong call to action for all of us. We must not and cannot allow the hard-fought rights of women in Australia or Canada to be undermined. We have too much to lose. I said this similarly to BPW New Zealand early last year at their national conference, and they have since unfortunately gained a new government which has taken back some hard-won gains for New Zealand women. As these aggressive policies sweep across parts of the world, it becomes even more vital to stand firm in our commitment to equity and justice. When we think about revoking many women's rights, denying and abolishing their history, it is frightening for many. We cannot let that happen in our countries. We must not forget the importance of our international collaboration, advocacy, and remain vigilant in protecting and advancing women's rights. Let us remember our BPW International theme for 24-27, Inspire, Innovate, Empower, Transform. Together we shape a sustainable future. And recently, our international president invited every BPW member around the world to take part in a historical global campaign. BPW listens and your voice matters. Together with the international executive, our regional coordinators, ambassadors, and a dedicated technical team, BPW has opened this space to hear from you, all members, your experiences, your expectations, and your vision for the future. Because each voice counts, each story builds our future, and your voice truly matters. All our voices matter. Slide 6, please. My example of turning passion to action as a BPW member began in Tasmania in '96, when I moved to Adelaide in South Australia and had the chance to take on many leadership roles, both locally and nationally. When I was president for BPW in South Australia in 2008, I brought the leaders of our then 5 organisations, BPW, National Council of Women, Seroptimus, University Women, and Zonta together, and I said, if we work together, our voices and campaigns will be better heard by those in power. All agreed. And when I said to them, what's our first priority? It was agreed that was male violence against women and children. And with that, I founded what became the Adelaide White Ribbon Breakfast Committee, ongoing now for 18 years and called Wake Up to Change, Adelaide White Ribbon Breakfast. I'm still in the role of convener on behalf of BPW with a small group of volunteer men and women. Prior to COVID, we had reached nearly 1,400 attendees and were considered the biggest such white ribbon event internationally by your Michael Kaufman, who is one of White Ribbon Canada and White Ribbon International's founders. And since COVID, we're now back up to 750. Our event is both an awareness-raising and educative event, which has an ongoing audience, including our state governor, our premier, opposition leaders, members of parliament and ministers, business and community leaders, advocates, victim survivors, and workers from domestic, family and sexual violence services. Slide 7, please. Further to this, when women across the world held their international women's marches for anti-violence against women, I realised nothing was happening in Adelaide and we only had 2 weeks to go. No time to organise a march. So I talked to another then BPW member and we co-founded what became our Pay Our Respects event, honouring women murdered in Australia each year. This is held on the steps of our state parliament building, and we held our 8th event this January, where we honour each woman individually, giving her name, age and state, providing a moment's silence and ringing a bell. Depending on the number of women murdered, each woman is individually represented by our volunteer women, utilising cutouts of women from political core flutes, and participants are again members of parliament, ministers, business and community leaders, advocates, victim survivors, and workers from domestic and family services. Thus, you can see that one of my and other BPW passions is anti-male violence against women and children. Slide 8. What drives me? I'm dedicated to championing gender equality and empowerment, social justice and anti-men's violence against women and girls, and advocating at local, national and international levels in any way I can. My message to all is to back your ideas earlier. Don't wait for permission. The world needs people who are willing to disrupt the script and make a real difference. BPW Australia is a community of women working together to end gender inequality and sharing an interest in the issues that affect women, working women in Australia and around the world today. BPW is women working together, making gender matter and helping women achieve leadership in advocacy and in their personal and professional development. Our members have the opportunity to influence government decisions on issues important to women by lobbying for policy and legislative change, developing their own skills and experience in the process. We take action to achieve women's equity in social, economic, community, and political terms. We partner with other organisations on international projects and campaigns, including International Women's Day and the Women's Empowerment Principles. Our community includes women from small and medium-sized businesses through to large multinational corporations and from public and non-profit sectors, as well as women no longer in paid work. Influential women leaders, young career women, savvy entrepreneurs who are running their own show. Our members bring a depth and breadth of expertise and experience and range in age from 15 to 80 and represent a wide variety of professions, trades, and industries. We offer a secure environment for women to learn from one another through mentoring as well as collaborative projects. Clubs also host guest speakers, conduct campaigns, and run professional development seminars. We enable women to develop strong networks locally and nationally, as well as take advantage of our international connections. Our members share similar goals and challenges and can rely on our community of like-minded women for encouragement, support, and inspiration. As I've said before, this may be done by responding to inquiries or by actioning our resolutions into policy or joining with other like-minded groups to ensure women's issues are really heard and actioned. Thank you once again for allowing me to address you today. Thank you for your commitment, courage, and your vision, and for standing strong even when our work is hard. And thank you for showing the power of BPW sisterhood across the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. This is the time when we can have question and answers from anyone. If you just unmute yourself and speak up, that would be great.
Can I ask how many clubs there are currently in Australia?
We are actually down to 12 clubs. We used to have more, and some of our clubs have a couple of our clubs only have a few members. It's become harder in some areas to keep our numbers up. Everybody keeps introducing new women's groups. I don't know if that's happening in Canada, but it's certainly happening in Australia. A lot of them are networking rather than, like ours, is advocacy as well. It's hard to keep up, but some of our clubs, like in Sydney and my own club in Adelaide, are getting larger, and multicultural. So that is good, but I'd like it to be more around the whole of Australia.
Yes, for sure, I think we've encountered something similar. I know years back I was trying to get a club going, actually, you don't know, but in Oakville, in the Oakville, Burlington area, for some of you who know where it is. And at that point, I could not understand why we can get any more than maybe 3 or 4 people out to a meeting. We found out there was exactly 154 women's organizations in that area. You know, I mean, they were just inundated. So eventually gave up on that. So definitely understand the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of our country clubs have that problem. And we were about to have later this year a national conference in a country area, but we would have been competing with weddings because in this town, you know, all the weddings happen in the big convention centre, etc. Sure. It's a hard place to get to, and if we didn't get a certain number, we could have been kicked out. So now we're having our national conference in July in Perth, and that's going to go well, but we're hoping with a short time span to get it going that we will get the number we want. We're meant to have organised from the last conference people's interest in holding a conference, but that didn't happen at the last one. People were going to and then dropped back. So it's been a bit hard.
It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah. We've got some members going to CSW, not me this year. I think I went in 2009, but I haven't had the chance to go back again.
Anne?
Hi. It's so exciting to meet other countries and get to know what you're focusing on. And I'd really like to learn, like you said, there are so many other women's groups. How are you differentiating yourself from all of those other groups?
Well, we try to make sure people understand we're not just networking. We're standing up for women's issues. And that gets a number of people in. But then we've also got to make sure our clubs, people come in for that. We've got to make sure our clubs have on their program some of that rather than just guest speakers. So we try to make some of our meetings with a guest speaker, but also with some of our advocacy. Sorry, I use my hands to talk sometimes, so I'm going to put them behind my back. I realize I'm going everywhere. So it's trying to make sure that our meetings meet what people the issues that people come in for. I noted, for example, you've got two of your resolutions to do with immigrants coming in and trying to have their qualifications recognised. And that's something I believe we need to do here, because we've got the same problem in Australia. And in fact, we've got a brand new member of BPW Adelaide, a young girl who already had a master's of psychology from India. And she's having to get all her information redone. And she's actually got her quals with her, but they've said to her, no, you have to have it sent from India. And she said, but I've got the thing here. So it was just ridiculous. So in the end, I think she's doing counselling. She's doing a counselling course, but everything costs because she's from another country as well.
Yeah.
So it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as the business and professional women, are you also offering education and things like that to your members?
We do small things, but we're not registered as a training organization. Mm-hmm. And to get those qualifications, but we certainly do run different educative type events. Yeah.
Thank you.
We work with Zonta and Seroptimus on different things. They are service clubs as well as advocacy, so they do a bit of both, whereas we try to be doing the advocacy, not the service things. Every now and again we'll do fundraising, but not as much as they do. Yeah.
You know, we have found in our club just in the last year or so that it works very well if BPW works with another organization. For example, Zonta. We work in conjunction with Zonta. We also work in conjunction with the Canadian Progressive Club, who are pretty much just a fundraising organization. But it's really interesting because where some focus on advocacy, some on fundraising, but you get a nice combination of everything. Yeah. And it also gives you a lot more volunteers as well when you do events and things like that as well. But we found we've gained members from doing this as well. So sometimes it's nice to join in with another group or two.
Yeah, we've done that a little bit with Rotary in Australia. I get a bit cheeky and say they've just realised domestic violence exists. And I'm saying that a bit cheekily because one of the things is they've only just come into this space and they realise it's really important. Being a ground roots organisation that meets very frequently, that is another good link that we've just done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, yeah. Sure. I'm sure.
I don't have anything to ask per se. I just want to say thank you for your talk. My goodness, you guys do a lot, and congratulations on all that you do. You are a great example for us to follow.
Yes. I think you're already doing some brilliant things yourselves there.
Thank you.
Anyone else has questions?
I was just going to ask about the young BPW ladies and what you're doing to attract them. I realize that they're mostly looking for networking opportunities. So are you offering any mentoring or any special things?
Yeah.
And what would be the average age in Australia?
They're young BPWs. In some clubs, there aren't many, and that can be in some of the regional areas, but some of the regional areas are getting some more young people. We do offer them mentoring, and sometimes that can be mentoring into positions. So learning about governance, learning about membership, marketing and things like that. Sometimes they bring new ideas for us as well. Our club has got a number of young members at the moment. I think one of whom's studying nuclear engineering. And she had a visit to, I think it was Texas or somewhere, for a term to look into that. So our young members bring ideas back to us as well. And so it's important to mentor, but if you only have one or two young BPWs, it can be hard to keep them. You need a little community of them, I think. Young BPW representative on our board is trying to keep up with the other young BPWs around Australia. And that, I think, is important that they have that community together. We've had a bit of a hiccup in that area. One young BPW person that was leading it, but we've got a new one who's just had a baby. And she's trying to keep up with our members. But the other thing, I don't know if your members do this, they put their age range in the database. And then once they get over young BPW, they haven't readjusted. So we're not sure whether they're still young BPWs. So, you know, sometimes that has to be, we have to stir members up to keep their personal details up to date. I don't know if that's given you enough background. It depends where you are with the young ones. Yeah. And sometimes with their career, they're in and out and maybe come back a bit later on to BPW. There can be a hiccup when they are either training somewhere different or just starting families. Yeah.
I'm just a lot of clubs aging out in my own community. For example, I was speaking to the archivist. I'm in Cambridge, Ontario, and he said, you know, what he sees is a lot of the clubs are aging out. It's really hard to attract the younger people for various reasons. I mean, let's face it, they're a lot busier than we were. And, you know, with work and the demands, I mean, computers really haven't made our lives easier. So both my daughters were members of BPW at one time. And, you know, they both found it really hard with working and that. So I was just, I mean, we tried everything, you know, to try and help them. But I mean, even having dinner meetings and, you know, they complained that it was getting too late. And one of my daughters had to commute to work. And she, you know, and traditionally we've had dinner meetings. And it's kind of hard to meet all their needs compared to when we were younger. They have a lot more challenges today. That's just one example. Is you know, having the night meetings in restaurants, and it's been a tradition in a lot of clubs for many years. Now we have Zoom, it's made it easier, but still, you know, the night meetings can be hard.
Yeah. Some of the different clubs try to have sometimes night meetings and sometimes breakfast meetings. Some of them even have lunchtime meetings, but that depends where you are, whether it's suitable or not.
Yeah, we've tried lunch meetings too here in Cambridge.
Yeah.
It worked out okay for the people that were self-employed. It made it harder for the people that had to get back to work.
Mm. Yeah.
So just meetings. I know there are other clubs that do breakfast meetings, and that sometimes works. Again, that's usually networking meetings for breakfast that I've witnessed anyways.
You know, I
I'm
think
just really curious to know what you're doing, and what problems you have, keeping the young.
Yeah. Yes. And at least one of our clubs in WA was it aged out. They were doing a lot of things in the local community for women, having babies. They were tended to be a bit more of a service club than a normal BPW club, but they've aged out and they've disappeared. They're hoping to try to restart, but they're not getting the younger ones. Mm.
You know, I think the biggest challenge as well is these right now, I think most of us, I know the average age in our club runs around about 55, okay, 55 years old. Years back, I remember, in fact, the year I joined, 2002, I remember they were having a real problem because everybody was older. And, you get younger people would get invited to a meeting and they'd walk in and they would see this entire sea of gray hair. Boom. That was our first impression, myself and another friend that joined at the same time. But eventually what they did was they parachuted a young president in. That's really what they did. And she made all the difference in the world. She was a young lawyer and she got some excitement going. She attracted a lot of young people. So now and this was, I say, going back in 2002, but now I know our age range is anywhere from 20 to 93, but again, with most of us in the sort of 50 to 70-ish, range. But it's difficult too when you're trying to find, for example, a good speaker. You've got to, it's difficult. How do you find a speaker that is going to be of interest to everybody? That sort of thing. And then, like Lynn was saying, do you do a breakfast? Do you do a lunch? Do you do a dinner meeting? Everybody wants something different. So there are a lot of challenges especially to bringing in new members, attracting younger members, because that's what we badly need. I'm sure Anne would agree with that as well. And sorry about I didn't mean the gray-haired comment wasn't directed. Sorry.
Hey, okay, this part might be red, but the gray's up here until I get another box of hair color.
Yeah, no, I love my hairdresser.
Well, it's been over 3 years since I've had my hair trimmed, but I do my own color. Hairdressers are too expensive. But I'm curious about one. I've had a thought. I mean, we're basically older, and I'm wondering if it's almost generational in a sense. We grew up, so most of us, I would say, 60s, 70s, a time of activism, particularly for women's rights, and for a lot of other things as well. I mean, I marched in peace marches and stuff once I hit college. Really, it was the 80s. I did my hippie trip in the 80s. But, I'm wondering if I don't know a lot. My daughter's going to be 37 next month and not an activist at all. And I'm wondering, if maybe it's a sort of a generational thing. Maybe we're a little more aware because we were already fighting for things. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I guess it depends on some of the younger ones, because some of the issues that we advocate for, a number of young women are part of that too. The domestic violence type things, but also in our state, for example, we are campaigning for the decriminalization of sex workers, so they get the same laws that every other person who works has. While it's criminalized, it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
And there's lots of younger women and men taking part in that sort of campaign. Again, also with the abortion campaigns, we've only just in our state managed to decriminalize abortion, and that was in 23. We've already had 2 lots of other politicians try to upend that. It's happened twice. And when you have the campaigns on the steps of Parliament, there are younger people as well. So it can depend.
Yeah.
Probably not as many protests as back in our younger days, but there are still people protesting some of these things.
Yeah.
As
I
part of your
think
presentation.
the other issue too is with protest. I mean, I've seen some here, of course, I've often, but I rarely go out. I never go to my way anymore for protests because, quite frankly, they fall on deaf ears to a certain extent. Like, I'm glad to a great extent. Once in a while, you'll make a game, but I've just seen too much that, you know, I've done protests. I'm involved with a group called Protecting Canadian Children. Not so much now as I used to be. Trying to bring accountability to Children's Aid, and my friend Linda Flord is the founder. She also advocates now a great deal for seniors' rights. And, she's done protests and kind of politicians, and it falls on deaf ears. There's so much that should have been done a long time ago, and especially when kids die in care, totally preventable death. So I guess for me, I mean, we did all kinds of protests and campaigns, and kids are still dying, kids are still being abused in care, and it gets a little disheartening when they don't even pay attention.
Yeah, understood.
Gillian,
Yeah.
during your presentation, you spoke about New Zealand, some of their policies that have been taken back. Could you elaborate a wee bit on that?
It was to do with things to do in the pay equity area.
Oh, okay.
That things started being taken back, and they've got a more right-wing group in now. So I think it's the start of some problems for them.
I see.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit linked with the backward motion in some places, particularly with your southern neighbour, the getting rid of DEI things and policies. That's where this new government in New Zealand is sort of going about those, whereas we haven't got that, touch wood, in Australia with our current governments. We shall see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any more questions or comments? Well, once again, I want to thank you so much, Gillian, for having agreed to meet with us this evening. I realize it's morning for you and you'll be traveling later on today.
Yes.
I hope that you can attend our candle lighting ceremony. This is what's going to be next on our agenda this evening.
I'll try to attend some of it. I might have to go during it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you for the opportunity.
Much appreciated. This will be placed on YouTube, if you don't mind. We do have a YouTube channel. When you go to YouTube, you search for BPW Niagara Falls, and then you have access to all the videos that we've placed there. And you can view them anytime. So you can actually show them to your club and other clubs in your neighborhood. That would be great.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Charmaine.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about the candle lighting ceremony, or would you like me to share my screen first?
No, I can start with the initial part of it.
Okay.
Of course, there are 101 clubs at least in the world from BPW, and I'm not doing 101 candles. So, so I am making some adjustments to the candle lighting ceremony. We'll start with some protocols. Then we're going to talk about what BPW stands for. And I've shared with Jocelyn some notes so that perhaps all of us here can have a chance to, or at least the members have a chance to share in the candle lighting ceremony with me. Okay, because there's quite a bit.
Okay.
And
So you'd like me to share my screen at this time?
yes, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Can you share? Can you put it? Okay.
This is good.
Can you make it a double with the speaker so that I have a better presentation of my screen?
Would you like me to place you as the spotlight? Would that help?
Yeah.
Okay, how
Yes,
about
like that.
This is
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Yeah. So people can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Our candle lighting ceremony for 2026. The protocol is we've come together to participate in this special tribute to one of the world's most influential organizations, the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, which unites women around the world. Although its members speak in many languages and live in countries with differing traditions, they share the same determination of purpose. More than 90 years ago, BPW was founded by Dr. Lena Madison Phillips from the United States of America. And a few years later, she conceived the idea of the candle lighting ceremony. As we perform the ceremony, we will evoke historical memories, the many accomplishments, and celebrate today's achievements. The members of the United States of America made goodwill tours to Europe to share their interests and their beliefs with women of Europe. Through their efforts and influence, groups were organized in several countries. In 1930, women from 16 countries met in Geneva, where a long-cherished dream, the forming of the International Federation, became a reality. The candles symbolize the ambitions and endeavors of dedicated women in every country around the world. Each white candle represents a federation. Each blue candle stands for a country where at least one associated club is, and the pink candles for individual members. The candle in the middle, I'm going to light that one now, represents the United States. Whoa. Well, let's see what Shaky Me can do with the candles here. Come on, and I've tried drinking today too. Come on, light. Well, maybe it won't work like that. No, it's just a candle that doesn't want to light. There it is. The tallest candle. Let's see. Candle in the Men is the oldest group, the United States of America. The tallest candle represents the International Federation. Come on. I'm not doing this again. Okay, I have essential tremors, so that makes it a little difficult, that's all. The tallest candle represents the International Federation. In the warmth and the glow of its tolerant life, business and professional women in all parts of the world come together to share memories, in friendship and reflect on the founding principles envisioned by Lena Madison Phillips that govern the International Federation, which stands out as a beacon to women everywhere. The next part is using our combined abilities and strength, we renew our commitment for the attainment of the following objectives. 2, and who wants to go first for that? Jocelyn, can you?
I can speak.
Right.
To work for women's economic independence and equal opportunity and representation in economic, civil, and political life.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Catherine, can you read numbers 2?
Yes. Number 2, encourage and support women and girls to develop their professional and leadership potential, undertake lifelong education and training, use their abilities for the benefit of others locally, nationally, and internationally.
Thank you. Barb, can you go number 3? You're muted. No?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Advocate for the elimination of all discrimination against women, for human rights and the use of gender-sensitive perspectives.
Thank you, Barb. Lynn, can you do number 4?
Certainly. Undertake worldwide networking and cooperation between business and professional women. Nonprofit projects that help women gain economic independence. To present the views of business and professional women to international organizations and agencies, and to business, governments, and civil society.
Thank you, Lynn. So let us now light the other candles and remember our members on every continent who will be celebrating in the same manner. As we light candles for them, they will light candles for our country. First, we light candles for each of the founding federations of BP International. This will be fun. Okay, let's go. Australia is one. And Canada, these are alphabetical. No, that didn't work. Australia. Come on, you were lit. Doesn't want to light. In Canada, don't know why they're not lighting. And Denmark or France. Start with. And then we have Italy, United States, United Kingdom, and United States. So Italy. Oh. Tell you what, let's pretend they're all lit. Next time we do this, we have to have battery operated candles. I can't get them all lit. Today, there are also affiliate federations. And it says light the remaining candles, but I'm only going to do one. If I could have each one of you read each column, Jocelyn?
Yes. Argentina, Australia, Bahrain, Belgium, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Cyprus, Ecuador, Egypt, Estonia, Finland, Gabon.
Okay, Catherine, the next column, please.
Germany, Indonesia, Ireland, Japan, Jordan, Korea, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Myrna,
And Lynn, could you read the third column, please?
New Zealand, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Portugal, Singapore, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, United Arab Emirates.
Thank you. And we also honor the affiliate clubs in the following countries. Now there's 65 countries here. So can I get you guys to read them for me?
Yes, I will start.
Okay.
Albania, American Samoa, Armenia, Barbados, Benin, Bermuda, Botswana, Bulgaria, Cameroon, Cayman Islands, Chile, Colombia, Croatia, Czech Republic, Djibouti, Dominion Republic of the Congo, Dominica, Dominion Republic, Ethiopia, Georgia, Greenland, Haiti.
You.
Catherine?
okay. Hong Kong, Hungary, Iceland, Iraq, Jamaica, Kenya, Kosovo, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Madagascar, Malta, Moldova, Monaco, Mozambique, Namibia, Niger, Palestine, State of Panama, Papua New Guinea, and Paraguay.
Lynn?
Peru, Poland, Republic of Congo, Romania, Russian Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm not sure, St. Martin, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Slovakia, South Africa, South Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, the Bahamas, Togo, Turkey, Ukraine, Yemen, Zambia, Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Lynn. And we will light the pink one for the individual members. Make it light. There we go. Look, they're up. They're
Awesome.
almost
Beautiful.
We're not done yet. Okay, BPW International is a dynamic and powerful organization of worldwide importance. Public opinion and legislation in many countries have been influenced by its work. It has broadened our horizons and skills. It has increased our rights and our opportunities, and it has expanded our service to one another and to the community. As our voice at the United Nations organization, it represents to that world body information and opinions obtained from our affiliates worldwide. BPW International enjoys Category 1 consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. It also has consultative status with the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, the Board of the United Nations Children's Fund, the International Labor Office, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and the World Health Organization. It works closely with the Commission on Human Rights and the Commission on the Status of Women, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the Council of Europe, and other specialized agencies. As we come to the end of another candle lighting ceremony, let us light the last candle, the candle of the future. Here we go. The candle of the future. As we light this candle, let us reaffirm our aim to go forward with faith, with courage, and with enthusiasm to take our place in economic, social, and political fields of endeavor, helping us to bring into being a world of social justice for all and the peace to which all humanity aspires. Thank you all for being a part of this. The last thing we have is the International Collect. Jocelyn, if you would be so kind as to read that.
Yes, the following, as an alternative version of the International Collect, was adopted at the 26th Congress in Mexico City. We ask that we meet together as women, not allowing beliefs, religion, nationality, ethnicity, or language to come between us. That these meetings enable us to move forward and advance the status of women throughout the world. That the value of women be recognized in our families, our communities, our workplaces, our country, and the world. That we use our good ideas, our knowledge, our experience to promote the worth of women. That we combine our strengths to move forward in peace, in serenity, and in love. That women of all generations will do their part to achieve harmony and equality among all human beings. This text was by Suzanne Garand, BPW Québec Métropolitain, Canada, and the translation in French was provided by Leslie West from BPW Montreal, Canada. So it was originally composed in French and then translated. So thank you.
Jocelyn. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of what BPW represents. Every time that I have been involved in this, it just helps me recognize the size and the scope of BPW and what we can learn and do as members of this organization. Thank you again, each and every one of you, for being part of our candle lighting ceremony.
I just lit a green candle for BPW Niagara Falls.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Yes.
As is our custom, I will stop the recording so that we can do our business meeting.